I need everyone to listen up because this is very important. If there's someone close to James Gunn who happens to watch my videos, then please, for the love of God, take his phone away from him. Take it and lock it away in a safe, because every single time this dude decides to tweet about his plans for the DCU, all it really does is just make everything sound more and more confusing. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You know, if James Gunn spent as much time writing his scripts as he does clarifying things on Twitter, he might actually be capable of writing something worthwhile again. I know some people think that it's great that he answers questions on social media and that he keeps people updated about what he's working on. But after a while, for me personally, it just gets to a point where it's like, just show me what you're gonna do and stop talking about it.
Shut the f*** up!
If Superman Legacy is the first official thing in your DCU, then let that film speak for itself and lay the groundwork for your universe. If Creature Commandos is a very crucial part to your DCU for some unknown reason, then don't tell me why in a tweet. Just make the show great and convince me that way. Because when you tweet about it instead of showing me, it feels desperate. And it feels like maybe you aren't even confident in your own plan.
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Tweets making it more and more unclear as to which characters will be in your universe are not helping me to get invested in your universe. It's making people like myself not give a shit because everything feels very chaotic. So for those that don't know, James Gunn has once again clarified what is actually canon in his DCU reboot. The fact that there's still questions about that, with as many tweets as he's already put out on the subject, says a lot about people's confusion about what's going on.
I don't get it.
So James Gunn has clarified that everything before Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy will not be canon. The actual tweet goes as follows. Nothing is canon until Creature Commandos next year, and a deeper dive into the universe with Superman Legacy after that. It's a very human drive to want to understand everything all the time, but I think it's okay to be confused on what's happening in the DCU, since no one has seen anything from the DCU yet. Just to be clear, people aren't confused because they haven't seen anything yet, they're confused because you won't shut up. I like how he kind of insinuates that some people are looking for a bit of instant gratification, and while that is a very real problem with modern audiences and something that I talk about all the time, I do believe that he set a precedence in this particular situation for people to be asking questions because of his incessant need to clarify everything while simultaneously making things more convoluted.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
He continued, and yes, some actors will be playing characters they played in other stories, and some plot points might be consistent with the plot points from dozens of films, shows, and animated projects that have come out from DC in the past. But nothing is canon until Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy. James, honestly, you could have done everyone a favor and just stopped with the original tweet, because the minute you start to write that follow-up tweet, you clearly can't help yourself and start to over-explain things, and we get your over-explanations so often that it's starting to feel like the ramblings of a madman.
The whim of a madman.
So according to James Gunn, nothing is canon prior to these first two projects. But some characters might come back from other universes, and they may even have plot points carry over from other universes as well. Here's a question: does James Gunn actually understand what the term reboot means? If you are DC and WB, and your goal is to distance yourself from all of these projects that you have deemed failures, then wouldn't the smart move be to do a full reboot and disconnect yourself from those projects immediately?
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset and call me a hater and blah 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 blah, but sincerely, take your James Gunn blinders off for just a second and think about that for a moment. Is this really the inconclusive message that you want to send when you're a studio trying to beat the allegations of constantly being incompetent? Is this really the message you want to send as a writer-director who has been tasked with rebuilding one of the biggest cinematic properties in the world? I know I'm not crazy when I say that this doesn't feel like the best course of action, and even if this is your plan, why do you feel the need to constantly talk about it? Again, why not just let everything play out through the films and explain everything through your stories and your characters? That's what a talented writer-director would do. do. That's what a competent studio would do.
That makes sense.
Imagine for a second that prior to the MCU's inception, you had producers and directors coming out and saying, well, this is going to be all new, but we're going to be bringing back some actors from the past as well. That's right, Lou Ferrigno is going to be your MCU Hulk. Now that's not a knock on Lou Ferrigno's Hulk, just to be clear, I'm just trying to make a point here. The reason that the MCU worked initially and captured people's attentions almost immediately is because it felt fresh, it felt unique.
I like it a lot.
From the moment that post-credits scene premiered at the end of Iron Man 1, audiences knew that this wasn't going to be your average superhero story. It was going to be different, it was going to be bigger. It all happened organically. Now, does anything that James Gunn is currently doing feel organic to anyone? No, it feels quite forced actually, and the first project hasn't even dropped yet.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
So far, we have Amanda Waller, Blue Beetle, and Peacemaker confirmed as the characters deemed worthy enough to return in James Gunn's DCU. I bet you that every single DC fan since they were little has dreamed of the day that a cinematic universe would be created around their favorite characters, and the first confirmed characters in that universe are Blue Beetle, Amanda Waller, Peacemaker, and the Creature Commandos. I mean, who needs the Trinity when you have a lineup like that?
Nobody likes a smartass, alright?
And yes, let's keep a character and an actor from a movie that general audiences just told you a couple of months ago that they have no interest in seeing. This sounds like an amazing creative and business strategy. It's like James Gunn and WB and anyone else who is actually involved with these decisions are actively going out of their way to do the opposite of what works.
Something very familiar about all this.
Tim Burton's Batman worked. The Dark Knight trilogy worked. The Joker worked. The Batman worked. And yes, even Zack Snyder's trilogy worked, regardless of what some people on the internet might tell you. Look at the numbers and tell me when I'm telling lies. WB has proof of how audiences respond when they are in their bag. Yet they refuse to acknowledge it, and they refuse to use it as a template to build this brand into the juggernaut that it should be.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Y'all be cool. Nah.